Well, good day. My name is Meredith Burkich, member of the Veridian Corporate Executive Team, and I am here with an illustrious group of leaders from our field. Glenn Crawford, Platinum Partner, Joel Brizzi, Partner with Veridian, and Bob Meneve, Partner with Veridian as well. And we are going to be talking about on this CD, step number 8 in the Veridian 8-step process, which is about learn, use, teach, and repeat. And to summarize what you're going to learn from this group is all about the importance of duplication and what it means to be a leader. So good day, speakers. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
And I'm going to go ahead and just would like to get people familiar, all of our listeners, with who you are, just a real quick snippet about your background, what attracted you to the business. Let's go ahead and start out with you, Joel Brizzi.
Yes, Meredith, thank you so much. My name is Joel Brizzi. I am from East Rutherford, New Jersey. I am a partner with Veridian. I own a water treatment company for 22 years, and I am also a councilman in my municipality serving as the police commissioner. What excited me about Veridian when I first took a look and I was introduced through my printer, I saw a business and I saw an opportunity to go out and really have a no-cost product that was helpful to the environment and also saved people money. So I saw a live presentation our President Rob McFadden presented, and at the end of that presentation, I went up to the front of the room, grabbed an application, took my credit card out, and I paid right on the spot and never looked back, and that was 1 year ago, this past March.
Well, we are so glad that you are on this team, Joel. You are a valuable asset, to be certain. And Bob Meneve, how about you? Introduce yourself to the group, please.
Sure. Bob Meneve, Wyckoff, New Jersey. Veridian Partner, as Meredith said earlier. I've been involved with Veridian since basically last March. I was introduced in January by my good friend Joe Occhiogrosso, who I'm sure everybody knows who's listening. And Joe had been introduced to Veridian and wanted my opinion, and we set up a lunch, and pretty much the rest is history. I mean, my background is in the mortgage industry. That's how Joe and I met to begin with. Joe being from the title side of the business, title insurance. And the one thing I loved about this was the residual side of the income. From being from the mortgage industry, you close a mortgage, you get paid, you move on, you have to go find another mortgage. Here, you find a customer, and you get paid on them forever. That was the big difference for me.
Well, that is awesome. And last but certainly not least, Platinum Partner Glenn Crawford.
Hi, Meredith. Thanks for having me on the call here. My name is Glenn Crawford, and I'm married with 3 beautiful young girls. We live down in Longport, New Jersey, which is a beach town down in South New Jersey. My background is in the consulting and training platform. I'm a platinum partner now with Veridian Energy, looking to move up in ranks. And basically what attracted me to Veridian was, there's a lot of different things, and the other guys talked about some of the main pieces, but for me, I looked at it as not only a way for me to create financial freedom so that I can do the things that I want to do within my life, to spend the time with my family, to really grow my relationships, but I really saw this as a way to touch and affect way more people. The product being that it's a free product, and actually it's a product that helps the customers, where we're saving them money over the course of time, and we're adding more green energy into the grid and helping the economy, really touched me in a big way, and I knew that it would touch a lot of people, and that would give us the opportunity to really work with a lot more people and help them change their lives for the better.
Well, that is noble, Glenn, for certain. And again, I just thank the 3 of you for taking your time out to share with our newest Veridian associates who are listening to this call. And again, just to summarize what you can expect over the next 15, 20 minutes as we have this dialogue is really, walking away with the understanding that your team's growth is ultimately determined by your ability to duplicate yourself and implement the process. And so, Glenn, I'm going to start out with you. As far as the topic of duplication itself, why do you think in your business experience and network marketing experience in particular that duplication is so incredibly critical to the success of any organization?
Well, yeah, I come from a more of a traditional business background with my consulting and training company, so duplication was really only something that I had to worry about getting my trainers that work for me to be able to duplicate what I've done as far as setting up that training program. So when I got into the network marketing space and I really learned about duplication, I realized that duplication is really everything. This business is completely about duplication. So what we mean when we say duplication is everything that you do, everything that you say, all your actions, whether they're good or bad, will duplicate at a certain level because people are really watching and paying attention to everything you do. So it's really important to try to minimize any bad habits that you might pick up and really try to emphasize all the good habits. And I constantly use this phrase when I roll out teachings to my team is it's not a matter of will it work. It's more of a question of will it duplicate. And that actually comes from something I learned from one of my mentors, which is Randy Gage. And the reason why I like to use that phrase is because really when people get into this business, the first thing they want to do is they want to run out and do a lot of activity. But the question isn't whether that activity will work. I mean, you may get some initial results from the activity, but the question is, will that duplicate? Will people be able to see that activity and then be able to immediately go out and transfer that activity to something that will help them grow their business? Because, again, they're watching everything that you're doing, so you're setting that example up. So to me, everything that you've learned up until this point and everything that you're going to do to further your education and growth in this business is all about this simple concept of duplication.
And so, Bob, let me ask you, in light of what Glenn's talking about here and the importance of it and kind of what he's seen in his experience for yourself, and you've brought in a lot of people into this business. You've grown a very good, strong team. And from your viewpoint, for the new person, again, that's listening, how important is it that they lead by example, especially as it pertains to duplication?
Well, I would say that, just like the game we played when we were kids, follow the leader, that's basically what this business is. And I think life in general is that way, but I think in this business even more importantly, because a lot of the people that are entering our industry come from being an employee somewhere. They weren't the leader. They possibly might have been a manager, but they're still being told what to do. Now all of a sudden they enter our business, and if nobody tells them what to do, they're really not sure what to do. So, a lot of people come in, the first thing they do is look to their upline, I guess, associate who sponsored them for that leadership. Show me what to do. And if you don't show that person what to do, or if you show them the wrong things to do, as Glenn was talking about, the wrong activities, that then again is going to duplicate and your organization will not grow. Most people need to understand when they first come in, even though, yes, you just joined somebody's team, so now you're part of their team. But what they also forget is that they're now the leader of their team. So until they start building a team, they have to have that leadership mentality before they start growing their team. And I think that's very important. So, one of the keys that I do as far as growing my team is I never ask them to do anything that I won't do myself. I personally am still signing up customers. I still personally am actively looking for new prospective associates. So I will never be, and no one will ever hear, well, why isn't my team growing? And then somebody asks me, well, what have you done lately? Well, how many customers have you signed up? How many associates have you signed up? And if the answer is none, that's why your team's not growing, because you are not leading by example. And that does duplicate.
Good points there. And Joel, you've also, all the leaders on this call, on all the calls here in our 8-step, series, have tried and true proven success in this industry. And Joel, you're certainly no exception from that. So, what have you seen? So, if people come in and say, you know what, I see this system here, these 8 steps, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it my own way. I think I'm probably, more intelligent, or I just have more brilliant ideas. I'm going to go ahead and just apply and run off on my own. When you get people that really think that they know better, what have you seen, and what happens if they start implementing processes that are not really what everybody else is doing?
Well, that system, that personal, I could do it my way system, is going to be great for that particular associate. It'll create confusion, but it won't create duplication. Yeah, I may be the greatest presenter, and I'd be able to rewrite the best system in the world. And what's going to happen is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go out and find 15 or 20 or 25 associates, and then I'm going to turn around, and I'm not going to see development under those associates, because what I'm doing is not duplicatable. For me to go out and make my own presentation, or maybe do it on the grease board, and I'm going to explain it this way and show it that way, and then when my associate leaves the room that night, they get home and they say, I can never do that. That's not something that I'm capable of doing. So your business is not going to grow. And people start implementing their own system or freelancing, and it's just not something that's very duplicatable. And then when you have the system that we're putting in place with these 8 steps, and it's just really is a press and play type of system where anybody starting today can go home and press play and show somebody the presentation, show them the business. So when you start freelancing it and putting your twist into it, and whether you start making your own video or your own presentation tools, that will work for you, but it will not grow your business and will not duplicate. And that's what you're going to see is the duplication. And believe me, we've all made those mistakes, and we're trying to learn from that and moving forward with the 8-step process.
Well, and I know I've seen it too, having been in this, this profession for 20 years now. Golly, time flies. But what I've noticed is to your point, Joel, is that there are a lot of really talented people, and our industry attracts entrepreneurs. It attracts free thinkers and people that just want to forge their own path, and that it is important, and we want to celebrate that. We're not looking here to kind of shut that down, but to your point, it becomes very difficult when a person has a really splashy personality or a really flashy presentation, because everybody watching them just says, "Well, I can't do that, so I'll just let them do it," and then they try to build their business around an individual, which can be really crippling if that person is not around or just isn't available. And the beauty of what we do here is that it's not easy. We never say this is easy, but it can be very, very simple, and that is really the purpose of having any kind of a system or a process in place, so that the newest, youngest person in the business can win. They don't have to be a veteran with 20 years of experience and knowledge under their belt. So I think that in addition to this, as we kind of move on to kind of another part of this duplication piece, which is the support for a new person as they come into this, and again, we're trying to grow them up. Bob, what do you think in the area of support, because you're very good at that, undergirding your people and helping them win by lifting them up? What do you think is are some tips for people that are listening as far as specifically the support area and the really urgent attention that we need to pay to new people?
Oh, absolutely. Because I personally feel those first 2 weeks that an associate signs up are probably the most critical 2 weeks of their life in the industry. And, a lot of people, they kind of get so excited that they've just signed up an associate that they're kind of like just basking in the afterglow and kind of forget that they've now got to go out and show this person what to do. We all fall into that trap no matter what we do. We forget what it was like when we first started, and we think that the person we just signed up already knows everything that we know, and they don't. So the important part is getting an associate off on the right foot is not only reviewing the steps they should be taking, as far as defining their why, making their list, all the things that we talk about in our system. But I think that what you've also got to be very strong on is not making any false promises, no inflated income promises made, so there's no expectation that they're going to make ridiculous money overnight. And I think the bigger thing is to really prepare them for the negativity that they're going to encounter. And we all go through it in the beginning, and some people, if not prepared for it, it's it seals the deal for them. They're done before they even got started, because they started talking to some of the closest people to them, and they were told, "Oh, you're crazy, you're doing this," and or some other people that they thought would easily be customers or associates said no, and for whatever reasons, and they just weren't prepared for the negativity. They weren't prepared for the dream stealers. So I think our job, besides obviously getting that system set up, this is what you have to do, which I think is the easy part. I think the harder part, and what we really have to focus on as well, is being there to support them through those tough times in those beginnings when they're getting all that negativity, and getting them prepared for what's going to happen. So when it does happen, it's not as big a deal. If they're not prepared for it and they think it's all going to be easy, and then that negativity starts and they're not prepared for it, that could be the end of their career in network marketing. So I really feel that that's the real areas that we have to focus on as far as support.
Got it. And it's interesting because I've been around a good bit of stats, numbers, figures, all kinds of analysis, and one of the things that I've seen through the years repeat itself are really three reasons. And as you look at exit interviews, why people leave network marketing, one of the top three year after year, now decade after decade, is always that they just didn't get the support that they felt that they needed. And so that's the role of a leader. And even if you're brand new listening to this CD for the first time, and you just have your very first prospect and you're all excited and you're going to be talking to them, and you're a leader, and this one person is going to duplicate your support of them. And so that kind of goes back to this whole spirit of duplication, which is whatever you extend, they will repeat. And so when you take a look at the support system that we give here, it is one of the strongest pieces of network marketing, because unlike traditional business, where people aren't necessarily cheering you on to win, because if it's a promotion at work, you might be fighting someone else for it. If it's a franchise, you might be training somebody that one day is going to be competing against you. So it's a different spirit in network marketing here, because we want you to win, and your up team, they want you to win, the person that brought you here, because they can't win if you don't. And so the support system here is unique, and it's really a beautiful thing when you get your mind around it, especially when you have just such an amazingly deep quality of leaders really at your beck and call, that are just looking for ways to help you win. So it's really important. And Glenn, of course, a huge proponent on personal development and support and team, one of the strongest team players that I know. We have an acronym in the guide if they're looking at this and kind of reading along as you're talking, which is done on support. And, it's kind of helping talk about what Bob did about understanding the challenges, preparing them for dream stealers, because it does happen. There's plenty of great success stories, but they're going to come up against that, Glenn, so you know that. But when you get down to, the ordering your business builder kit and reviewing sales orders, when you get down to the R and support, there's a piece here that talks about reviewing their order for sales tools, importance of getting plugged into the team. What are your thoughts on the importance of, especially and specifically, tools and team, and why really applying that to your business is such an important, urgent piece to focus on?
Yeah, well, it kind of piggybacks a little bit of what Joel was talking about. Part of it's because we are attracting people that typically may have been in their own business, or they're used to, and we want people to have that spirit where we want them to be excited and don't want to ever hold people back. But at the same time, there's so many things that we've learned being in this business that we want to extend out to people, and obviously this is why we're producing this type of CD. One of the areas that I feel very passionate about is, and I use this phrase very specifically, if your lips are moving, you're pointing people to a tool or somebody from your team. I call it the 2T process. Typically, I'll add in there, you'll use that to avoid the third T, which is the biggest objection you'll get, and that is time. A lot of people, when we roll out a presentation to them, they'll kind of look at it and say, hey, this is something that I really want to do, but I don't know that I have the time to be able to put into it. And what I found is if you're using the tools, which in my opinion, I don't think there's a company out there that has quite the tools that we have. I mean, the cutting edge tools that we've produced here are state of the art, second to none. But also the team, not only just the team that you're on, but the entire team across the company in the field, and also your leadership team. You have the tools in place to be able to really be able to grow your business. And what you want to do, see, when I first got into this business, I made a lot of fundamental mistakes. You know, one of the mistakes that I made is I wanted to be the grand presenter. I wanted to be the all knowledgeable. I wanted to get all the information, and I would stand up in front, like Joel was saying, and I would go through all this information and all this data, and people would sit there and they'd say, wow, that was really interesting, but they wouldn't leave there saying, I can do that. And it really took some time for me to kind of get it through my head to get to the point where I said, you know what? If someone's going to leave my presentation with one thought and one thought only, that thought has to be, I can do that. And what I found by using the 2 T's, pointing people to the tools and the team, anytime your lips are moving, you're pointing people to the tool and your team, what you're doing is you're showing somebody that they can immediately leave, whether it's a presentation or a training, and they can have enough support just with what they've been given in their toolkit and with the team that they have to be able to go out and talk to a prospect without feeling either frustrated or uncertain on how to answer some of the questions. Additionally, if they're using the tools team process by pointing people there, the person that is looking at that should have, and this is what you're going for, is that aha moment, where they say, I can do that. And if you get that, that's what we want, because that's really what duplication in our business is all about. Remember, it's not just about you anymore. It's not making yourself interesting. It's about how can you do as little as possible to create the most amount of effectiveness and growth in your organization. And that's through duplication, which comes back to the 2T process.
Thanks, Glenn. Brilliant. And as we look at this piece of it, because what we're hearing right now from this group, this group of men, for those of you again listening in today, is these are extremely exceptional leaders, and these are the beginning of leadership qualities, which again, where you're not trying to take all of the attention and everything for yourself, you're looking to empower other people so that they can be successful. And yes, you're new. Yes, you're just getting plugged in, but you're still again in a position where you need to start thinking about these things. And Joel, what would you share with the new associates on this listening to the CD about where should they focus? Because leadership development, we're going to hear from you guys in just a couple minutes about is a lifelong process. But for them to think right now at this place in time, what is the most important things should they focus on?
Well, just it's probably going to be a minor repeat of what Glenn and Bob had said, but the primary thing is to lead by example. And as a leader, what a leader is going to do is a leader is going to plug into the system. He's going to plug into the upline or to the sideline. And we've been talking about duplication, and it's not only being duplicatable yourself, but what you want to do is you want to be able to duplicate the leaders and the winners in the entire team. I watch what Glenn does. I watch what Bob Q does, and I watch what Frank Marone does and Bob Maniv does, and I duplicate that and follow what they do, and then obviously my team is going to follow me as well. So with a new person, you want to get your arms around that person and be for the new associates and show them what a leader you are, and then obviously they're going to go to their teams and they're going to become that same leader that you are. And by being a leader and plugging into our system and being duplicatable, there's so many things that's going to help you do. And I want to mention overcoming objections, and I think that was just mentioned a few minutes ago, and how critical it is that your team and that your leaders are made, what I like to say, bulletproof. Because let's face it, we all go home and there's the dream stealers, and you mentioned that earlier, and you want tie that system in and plug that new associate, that new person, and teach them, I'm leading you this way. When I grab you and show you this system and I plug you into these tools that Glenn's talking about and this 8-step system, then really they're going to be able to run through walls. I mean, you could literally work with this person, and when you step away from that person, they're going to grab their team and they're going to lead their team, through those walls or over those walls and over those obstacles. So again, I'm showing my leaders, and my leaders are going to say, hey, this is how I was taught, and they're going to show their leaders. And just like Glenn mentioned also is, and it's probably going to happen even quicker, is if I'm not doing it and I'm telling my team, hey, did you go to that meeting last night? Are you going to that meeting tomorrow night? And you're not showing up and you're not leading them, that bad example is going to travel faster probably than the good example does. So definitely, wrap your arms around that new associate, show them, don't tell them, show them what it's like to lead, and they will show their team to lead as well.
Well, thanks, Joel. And so, Glenn, just kind of closing out our time together. It's gone by so fast. But what are your thoughts about again these leaders? We're going to be pointing them in a direction of personal development that will benefit them for a lifetime. And so we'll have some tools and some training that's going to be given to them and shared with them to help them kind of advance on their journey. And knowing that this is a very passionate personal thing to you, what would you like to say again, directed straight at our newest associate listening?
Well, first of all, and everybody I think has done a great job on this call, hitting a lot of points. It's funny how much I learned just listening to other leaders in the company, and that's the one thing that I really want everybody as we close out this CD, this portion, is to really understand and grasp is that, look, we've kind of blazed that trail. We've made a lot of these mistakes. It's taken us this long to get to the point where we've been able to unify the entire field, the company, everybody working together to create this unified system. And it's really important that you really stick to it because you want people to be able to come into this program and immediately pick the ball up, and so you have all the collateral material, all the tools, and all the support that you need. As soon as you start veering off and wanting to do it your own way, you're going to see maybe some results, but as I started off the call, you may get the results, but the question isn't will it work, it's more will it duplicate. And so I thought that was just a kind of a good tie together for the call. But to answer your question, Meredith, personal development for me is the key to this entire business. There's a great song, and whether you're a fan or not of Michael Jackson, the late great, there's a song that I love. It's called Man in the Mirror. And what it talks about is somebody going out and wanting to make changes in the world and do good in the world. But the place to start that good is by looking within yourself, because you have so much power all within yourself, so many answers, so many solutions all locked in yourself, and it's just a matter of finding the key. You'll find the key to unlock all this through personal growth, and personal growth is just not reading a book. I mean, I've tried that, where I picked up a John Maxwell book, and I've read about leadership, and, I did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. Personal growth is more about finding your purpose and finding your understanding and just really taking your life to a whole different level. And that was really the unexpected part of this business for me. I didn't get into this business thinking that I was going to grow the way that I've grown, but I've forged relationships not only with the people on this call, but people on my team, Crossline. I go to conventions, I go to big trainings, and it's just, people coming up and hugging, and, this is real stuff. These are relationships that are forged, and not only the relationships that were there that I really didn't have going into this business, but also the growth that I've not only watched everybody else do, but I've actually watched me do, because the reason why I'm so passionate about that song, Man in the Mirror, is because that's what I had to do. I had to go into the mirror and I had to look at myself and I had to say, if I want my team to grow, if I want to do good in the world, if I want to touch more people, I have to grow as a person, as a human. And so I started working on myself, and everybody, it's just so important. The people that are listening to this CD, I just implore you to understand that every single one of you have the power. You hold that power within you. It's in your mind. It's in your heart. It's in your soul. And all you need to do is unlock that, and it's going to be by being around this group, around the team. Anytime there's an event, a training, anytime corporate is throwing something, a phone call, a webinar, anything that you can be a part of where you can see something, there's always just one little gem that you might be able to pick up and write down. Anytime that you have an opportunity, instead of turning on the TV, read a book. Instead of putting on some kind of music that's damaging, put on something good like Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror or something else that has a good message, because what you're doing is you're programming your brain. And as you start to reprogram your brain, I want you to just, and I'll end with this, I just want you to think about what it is that was in your brain before. The negativity, the doubt, the fear, all this lack programming that exists from within inside us, that's been there for years and years and years, that doesn't need to be there. That is only there based on your conscious brain over the course of time has been trained to tell you that you can't do something. And I'm here to tell you that if you're on this, you're trying to improve your life, you're trying to grow, you listen to all the CDs, now you're at the final one. And obviously we know that because you're doing that, you've already taken that step. You're not dabbling anymore. You're really looking at this and saying, I want to do something great, and I'm here to tell you that you can do anything you put your mind to, and it just starts by looking at that man in the mirror.
Well, that is positively inspirational. Thank you, Glenn Crawford. Thank you, Joel Brizzi, and thank you, Bob Neve, for being with us. And to those listening, on behalf of all of us here at Veridian at your home office, we just want to say welcome and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your journey. And we sincerely look forward to celebrating your many, many successes for years and years to come.